All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Tonight, we shall be looking at a spring pasta recipe. Again, you're at a basics cooking class, online cooking class. My name is Sam, and I will be your chef this evening. And actually, you'll be your own chef, right? I hope that some of you will be following along at home, and or if not, doing this recipe shortly. This is a great recipe for this time of year. Of course, spring pasta it's called, but all the way through the summer and any time of year, pasta is great. But it's a nice, quick and low heat sort of dish to put together in the warmer months. And of course, this time of year, we have all the beautiful produce starting, and right now we're looking at asparagus is in season, and that's really great to work with. So Basics is a market where we make many of our own products. So I'm going to be using some of our Lulabelle's heavy cream tonight. And we also, of course, produce chickens, eggs, and beef, and cheeses. So please check out all our great products when you get a chance at the markets. All right, let's look at what we got here. So what I'm thinking, if you are cooking along tonight, I'll kind of be one step ahead, just to keep things moving for the class. And this is a really quick dish. If you're not talking a lot, like which I will be doing, but you know, I would like to give everyone a chance to cook this along if you are doing that. So that being said, you want a big pot of boiling water, and so you want to get that going as soon as you can. Our recipe specifies a half gallon of water, and that'll be enough water for like 1 pack of pasta. And so this recipe is geared towards I think it's an 8.8 ounce pack of pappardelle pasta, and pappardelle in Italian means to gobble up, and that's what these noodles are great for. It's a nice wide and long egg noodle, and they cook in about 8 minutes. All right, so once you get your salted water, you're going to put half a teaspoon of salt in your big pot of boiling water, and cook your noodles. So you can get that going now, and I'll kind of move on to the next step. I have my noodles cooked off already. So once your noodles are cooked, you're going to want to pull 1/4 cup of the cooking liquid, the water, the pasta water, and reserve that, because that's going to be part of your sauce. That's a really great technique when you're doing a pasta sauce, to use a little bit of the pasta water, because it has some starches in there, and those starches will thicken up your sauce a tad, and give it some nice flavor as well. So pull that 1/4 cup and then drain the rest of your noodles. And then what I like to do after the noodles are drained is toss them with just a touch of olive oil, and that will keep them from sticking while you prepare the rest of the dish. So if you have your water is coming to a boil, or maybe it's boiling, and you put your noodles in there, we can move to the next step. And tonight I did bring my glasses, so I can actually read the recipe card, which is handy, right, when you're following a recipe. All right, so here I've got a skillet, and this is a nice 10-inch cast iron skillet. And these, as I am always saying, are just a great tool. I use mine, several times a day. I love the cast iron. Once it gets heated, it really holds the heat well, and it's a nice surface for building something like this, where you have cut vegetables, and you also are going to be building a little bit of a light sauce in here. And so you've got some high sides to work off of. I've got some tongs, and I've got a wooden spoon, which we'll be utilizing as well. And of course, the chef's knife. All right, let's look at our ingredients. So we talked about the reserved pasta water, and we also have olive oil, which we will be putting into our skillet momentarily. But let's look at the shallot. So here's a shallot, and the shallot is a small onion, basically. And so we're going to treat it similarly and go ahead and whack off the stem end, leaving the root end there. And then I have my compost bowl handy to put my veggie scraps in. And then with this, then we've created our flat surface, and with all vegetables, like to create the flat surface so you're nice and stable there. And then go ahead and cut through the root end of your shallot. And then we can peel it. And shallots come in many shapes and sizes. So if it's a little precarious to cut it in half, you can just peel it whole, and that's fine too. Okay, but so we're going to go ahead and we are going to mince the shallot, right? So just like with the onion, we're going to slice it first along the natural lines that the shallot has here. And then that makes it really easy to mince because we can just go right across, and the root end will hold it all together. And I'm going to use this whole shallot because it tastes great. Okay, and then just across. And you'll notice the grip on my knife right there between where the blade starts and the handle ends, at that fulcrum is the great balance point to hold your knife. And I'm just, since this is a mince, I'm going to just go through and chop it a little bit finer. Okay, so we have our shallot ready to go. And what else do we put in this? Okay, so we have the asparagus and the snap peas next. So snap peas are really nice right now. I just picked up one package that they have in the market here, and seems like the perfect amount. And similarly, we have really beautiful asparagus in the market right now, and I have one bunch here. And so I previously cut a little bit of this asparagus and the snap peas, but I wanted to demo a few just to look at how to clean them and so forth. So I've rinsed all my vegetables. So asparagus has a kind of a woody end. And so there's a couple ways to clean it. One way is you can just snap it and it will break like at that point where the tender part starts, the tender part of the shoot, and then this end is a little bit tough. And again, these are good for stock and stuff like that. So you could put that if you're doing the thing where you keep veggie scraps in a Ziploc bag in your freezer for stock. These would be a good addition for that. Asparagus is something like 95% water. It does have a lot of vitamins in it. And asparagus, another way to clean it, of course, is to use your knife and just sort of find the end, and you can kind of see a difference in coloration where the tender part starts and the woody part ends. asparagus comes to us from Europe and the Mediterranean, uh, and we see evidence of asparagus being eaten in ancient Egypt. It was a very popular thing to eat, and in Rome. And the Emperor Augustus actually had a saying that as quick as cooking asparagus when he was wanting something to get done quickly. So cooks quickly. And so we'll be cutting this asparagus in a thin. So I like to cut asparagus at a diagonal. And so I'll take the asparagus, look at the tip, and the tip is really pretty, right? So we kind of want to leave that intact. So I'm going to cut at a diagonal, and I'll utilize my claw, right, and kind of grip that end of the asparagus. And then I usually just cut the tip off as one piece. And then from here, we can cut thin diagonals. And, you know, and it looks really neat to me. I like this shape. And it cooks really nice and evenly. So go ahead and cut up your asparagus. And I'm going to keep that skillet on medium heat and continue to cut. One memory of mine about asparagus that I think of once in a while, especially around asparagus season, is this one morning. I grew up around the Russian River down in California in Sonoma County, and one morning my dad woke me up really early, and it was a foggy morning. I remember early summer. There's a lot of fog, and we went down. We lived near the Russian River, and we went down to the river, and he had found a wild asparagus spot, and we went down and we picked all this wild asparagus, and I thought that was so cool. And then ate it, you know. And it's a fond memory of asparagus. But I've grown, you know, in our family backyard. We've grown asparagus and had limited success. I have kind of a shady backyard, and it's a little too shady, I guess, for asparagus. But it did start, and it takes really takes a couple seasons to get going. But who knows? Maybe it will come back. So there's my asparagus stories. All right, let's go ahead and put that tablespoon of olive oil in a hot skillet, or medium hot skillet, right? Hopefully, and saute our shallot a little bit. And when doing a dish like this, where you kind of have vegetables of different thicknesses and sort of different compositions, kind of want to think about the order of ingredients as to how they go in the pan. Now, we always, you know, we always start right with our onion component or shallot or what have you. Garlic would go in here if you're using garlic, stuff like that. Kind of get that a head start, and then you want to go to your next, the thing that's going to take the longest to cook next. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and put the asparagus in next, and then we'll work on the snap peas. Now, if you are cooking along, you'll want to have your snap peas prepared. And so I guess let's go over that real quick. So snap peas, we're going to go ahead and string them. And so the snap pea has this little string on the back off of the pea side there. You can see the little bumps of the peas, and it just peels off like a zipper, and sometimes you get the whole thing, and sometimes a little will stay on there, but that's usually because it's really tender. So I don't worry too much about that. And I just kind of pinch each side and try to get that as much of that string off of there as I can. And then if you don't, that's not the end of the world, because that's like a natural dental floss. And one, you know, so it's kind of like you're flossing as you eat your pasta. And so takes care of two things at once. And that's multitasking, right? That's good, 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 good work ethic. Okay. So got the shallots. They look good. They're just kind of going a little bit translucent. And we're going to add our asparagus. And I'm going to bring the heat up a tad because the asparagus is absorbing a bunch of that heat. Let's give that a second. And meanwhile, I'm going to have a look at the herbs here. So I've got some dill, some nice dill fronds, some chives, and some mint. And then we found some really beautiful chives out in the wild parking lot. And these are really nice because here we have the chive blossom happening here. And these are delicious and beautiful. So if you have the chive blossom, it's really nice. Like what we'll do, I think, tonight is we'll kind of chop them up a little bit and sprinkle them, and we can also leave some whole. And that's a really nice presentation. And it also, they also taste great. And there's nothing better than eating flowers, right? So here we go with the snap peas in there. Just toss that around. So we just want everything to get nice, nicely coated with that little bit of oil. Make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom of your pan. It really should be fine if you got the heat, that medium heat zone, and that tablespoon of olive oil, you're in good shape. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add the artichoke hearts. And so here I just used some canned artichoke hearts, and these were already quartered. So I didn't need to quarter them, but if you are using like whole artichoke hearts, you want to cut them in quarters, or even, you know, if they're half, then quarter them. That's a useful size for the artichoke heart. And then we're going to stir those in, and giving a little bit of color in there, which is good. Everything's going as it cooks, getting nice and deep green. Okay, so I've got the pasta water, right? And also I've got the lemon. And so I have one lemon, and I'm going to zest this lemon. So one tool that is nice here is a zester. These are two types. This microplane one is a great tool. And this is also a microplane. And this one's a little more like the cheese grater style. And actually, this will be pretty good because you can get a nice wide swath of the zest. And the zest is simply the peel of the lemon. So you want to give it a good rinse and just run that over the zester, grate it up. And if anyone has any questions at any time or comments, you are welcome to ask them. I think you have a button there on your conference, and I have someone here who can read them to me, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. And if we can't find an answer immediately, we will do some research and figure it out. Okay, so now I have this lemon, I have my zest, right? And I'm going to cut this lemon in half and juice some. And I think we're looking for a tablespoon or so of lemon juice. Yes. So I do have a tablespoon measure. I think really just a quarter cup and the tablespoon and the cup measure are all you need, or you can of course weigh your veggies and so forth. Or like I did, it's approximately a bunch of asparagus, one of these little bags. I used an 8-ounce bag of peas, and recipe calls for 6 ounces of peas. But extra vegetables are not a bad thing. So I just am squeezing. This is a real simple way to juice a lemon, right? I use the strainer. Another way I've seen to strain a lemon, if you don't have a strainer like this, you can go like this, and you can and this will keep the seeds up in that lemon, and your fingers become the strainer, and that works pretty well. Looks like I got one seed that way, but there we go. All right, so we got our pasta water. Here's my reserved quarter cup of pasta water. That's going in there. And the lemon juice is going in. Let's get that back up to a little bit of a bubble. And we're going to cook this for about 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to bring the heat up. And while this is cooking, it gives us a chance to look at the next and final round of ingredients, right? So it's almost time to eat. And we've created very little heat in our kitchen here, so it's perfect. And this would be a nice dish to eat outside, right, on your patio or porch, or under a tree. Okay, so let's see what we got. So I've got the Parmesan here measured out. This is a quarter cup of, I have some shredded Parmesan cheese. I've got the cream ready to go, and we'll be using 2 tablespoons of the cream. And then I've got the dill, the chives, the mint, and the lemon zest. And I brought in a little bit, I just happened to have a little extra Italian parsley from a different project I was doing. So I brought that in just because I thought that could be nice on this dish as well. So we're just going to go ahead and we're looking at slicing the chives. So chives are pretty neat because you can really cut them. Let's see, for these, I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half first. You can really get a good small slice on them, and they look nice. And so I'm just using my rocking motion, right? I'm keeping the tip of my knife down and holding my knife and right on the end of the blade there, and just rocking over the chives.
Hey Sam, we got a quick question.
All right.
Do you know if we have the pappardelle in the 12 store?
You know, I don't know, but maybe we could send a runner to check. We'll send our runner. He's gotten me a cauliflower before. What was that, Sean? A cabbage or a cauliflower? But it was a cabbage, right? Well, our cabbage runner will go check on the pappardelle. I'm pretty sure we do. Now, also, just a quick note, we do have a pasta making class posted, and you can make, this is a great noodle to make, because you can even hand cut these really easily because it's a nice wide noodle. So you could make your fresh pasta, and it is that same sort of egg noodle that I taught in that class. Okay, so mint, we're just going to kind of pull the leaves, and maybe you have too much mint in your yard. I know that mint can get kind of crazy, right? And grows abundantly. And mint is just a great flavor to introduce to something like this. It livens things up. And I'm kind of doing a semi chiffonade on that. I rolled it a little bit and I didn't get too nutty, but I did get kind of a nice, some nice strips of the mint leaf. And then the dill, we're looking for to pull it off the stem for the most part, get those fluffy dill fronds. And that would be great. That's the one. Yeah, let's do it. Action. Or how like this way. So this, it tastes like homemade, this one, it says, and this is a nice organic one. And so this is what we got at the Tualatin market. And but all our markets should have some sort of pappardelle. And this one's from Italy, and it's at 8.8 ounce, seems to be the standard for those packages. And we even, I know that at some markets we have fresh pasta that is in the cooler section, and there's usually a pappardelle in there, which would be another neat way to go. So you can use dried or fresh here. It comes both ways, and both are great options. Okay, where are we? We're already to step 3. So I've got my herbs. I still got to chop up this dill, right? So dill, I'm just going to kind of do a rough chop on that. And you can see here we've got the mint, the chives, the dill, the lemon zest. The lemon juice is in there, and we've got our Parmesan. Okay. So let's go ahead and put the rest of the stuff in. So here goes the zest. Here
Yeah,
goes,
I've got another question.
yeah, another question, please.
For the mint, does it matter if it's peppermint or spearmint?
No, you know, either any old mint will do. Either one. This one that I found in the market happened to be spearmint, but it can be either, you know, or if you have some neat variety. For a while, I had a chocolate mint plant, which was kind of cool. It actually had some chocolatey overtone, or undertones, I should say, a minty overtone, of course. Okay, so we threw that stuff in. And now for the cream, right? 2 tablespoons of the Lulabelle's cream. And if you haven't worked with this stuff yet, it is dynamite. It's really good and thick. If you just take a whisk to it, I'm putting 2 tablespoons in there. It whisks up into whipped cream almost immediately. Like it's really good stuff. And so you can see we've got a nice light sauce developed here. And we'll just let that, let it simmer for a second while I put my cream in the cooler. And we'll thicken a tad. But it's a good light sauce, and that's where we want it. Now I think I'll use use a little bit of the Italian parsley as a garnish. And then, of course, for parsley, what am I doing? We'll go like this. It threw me off having such a little bit, but yeah, to get the parsley leaves off, you can just shave them off with your knife is the easiest way, right? And then, so a little bit of parsley. And like I said, I just brought this in because I had it. Any herbs you like really will be delicious here. And, you know, and of course, as always, this is a technique. And if you don't have some of these ingredients, or you want to swap things out for different stuff, try different ingredients, it's a method, right? And so that's the main thing to, the takeaway here is a really nice method for a quick pasta meal and for your springtime dining and into summer. Okay, so I have my pasta. It's been, like I mentioned, I drained it and I put a little bit of olive oil on it to keep it from sticking. And so at this point, you can either, do a big plate of this and have it at the center of your table and have people pull off what they want, or you could plate it individually, and bring it out to the table, whatever you prefer. And so here I've got this, I'm just going to plate it to this size plate that I've got here. This is is it a plate or is it a bowl? I'm not sure, but it works both ways. All right. And one thing I maybe could use here is a ladle. Pardon me for I can never get away with not going off camera. I really thought this would be the time, but that's my trademark, right? The disappearing chef. Now you see me, now you don't. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and top. And what I'm trying to do with the ladle is get some of that nice sauce, right? Spread it over there. And of course, you could take this whole deal. I mean, you could throw your noodles into the skillet and mix them up. Really, it's up to you. Do your own thing. But this is what I'm going for here, since actually have the photographer here in the room with me who took this picture. And I want to get it just right. One of the photographers. All right. So got that, and I'm going to put a little, like I mentioned, that's our Italian parsley. And then here's the Parmesan. And the Parmesan, you can work it in a little bit. Work some of that. Let's work some of those veggies in so we get the noodles coming through. And as I mentioned before, the chive flour is just really, it's really a nice thing to work with. And you can, you can just break it up like this over a dish. You can use your knife, of course, and chop it up a little bit, get it off that center piece, and then you've got this beautiful purple fluff. And it's really neat because it tastes like chives, but it's this crazy purple flower. So it's a lot of fun. So let's put a couple of those in there. Like that. How about do a trio and some sprigs maybe of the parsley, looking cool, and another bunch of veggies. Why not? And there you have it. That is our spring pasta with asparagus and snap peas. So I hope your spring pasta, if you're cooking along with me, is coming right along. Or if you're making this soon, I hope it turns out as nice as this looks. I guess I should taste it, right? There's always that. Looking good is one thing, but how does it taste? If it doesn't taste good, I'll let you know. Let's see. doesn't taste good. It tastes great. So it's really nice. Tastes like a bite of spring. And that mint really comes through. The mint and the chives have a lovely interplay. Flavor wise, there's a lot going on, but you know, in a complementary way, a really lovely dish. I hope you get to try it. And thanks again for joining me. Please visit any of our 5 locations of Basics Market to pick up some supplies to make this recipe or some of our other recipes. Visit our website. We've got the basicsmarket.com website where you'll find a ton of recipes. In the stores, we have these really cool recipe cards. But also on the website, we have all our recipes as we develop them. We're posting them there as well. So keep an eye on those, and you can reference the whole library there. Also, we have mini skills videos where just things like chopping an onion and stuff like that. And then past classes are posted up there. So if there's any of those recipes that you're interested in seeing us go through it, those are posted as well. So I hope you get a chance to delve into that. And thanks again for joining me tonight. And come back again next week. We'll be more great food. Thanks and happy cooking.